Hey, what's up guys? My name is Majic Mike and welcome to another episode. Listen, I have 3 amazing recipes for you guys today. The first one is a nice snack that you can serve as your guests wait for the main meal, and that's a zucchini recipe. So get ready for that, you'll love it. The second recipe, I have a feeling a lot of you will love it. It's some jollof rice. And don't worry, in case you're not from West Africa, we've done a few adjustments here and there just to make sure that you can make it wherever you're from. And the third recipe, which is a good accompaniment to the jollof rice, is a chicken recipe with a magic sauce. We're gonna get into the details. So make sure you have everything you need. If you wanna follow the exact measurements, they're gonna be running on the screen so that you can follow or take notes if you want to. Let's start with our first recipe. Here we go. So the first recipe we're gonna make, which is a nice snack to serve your guests, is a red palm oil zucchini roast. Something that is extremely important for you to note: whenever you're roasting something in an oven, make sure you preheat your oven. It should take about 15 minutes to get the oven up to heat. For this recipe, we're gonna be roasting our zucchini at 190 degrees Celsius. So make sure you preheat your oven. I had already preheated my oven. It's been going for about 15 minutes, so it's hot now, it's ready. Let's get into it. This is one of the simplest recipes you'll ever prepare. The first thing you want to do, of course, make sure your hands are clean. We're going to quickly clean our zucchinis. Quickly clean our zucchinis. So first thing we're going to do is chop the ends off. Okay, we don't need those. So just gently slice, gently. Take your time. After you've chopped them, just spread them onto your baking tray. So I said this was a simple recipe. We're gonna drizzle some dry oregano on there, okay? The exact measurements should be on your screen. And then we're going to add some fresh sage. So I just need about 4 leaves or 3. So some big leaves. So 3 big leaves. Place the bigger leaf at the bottom and then the other ones at the top. Roll them up. Roll them up nicely and chop. So we don't want thick pieces. We want them as thin as possible. Chop them up. Pull them apart. And add them into your mixture. Just one more thing, Malaysian Red Palm Oil, and drizzle it onto your mixture and toss it, okay? Make sure every piece of your zucchini is well coated, okay? And then spread them out. And there you go, we're ready to bake this. How easy was that though, right? It's healthy. The advantage with Malaysian Red Palm Oil, and I really recommend palm oil for this recipe, is because 1, it's cholesterol free, and then secondly, it's rich in vitamin E. So you still keep this keep this meal healthy all the way through, and it also handles heat very well. So it's good in the oven and it's super amazing for frying. So we're gonna throw this in the oven, leave it in there for 45 minutes. It's gonna be ready to go. So it's been 45 minutes. Our zucchini looks amazing. It's browning a little bit, so it's time to remove it from the oven. I'm gonna take my towel because I don't wanna burn myself. It looks amazing. Just be careful with that. So you might want to give that maybe 5 minutes or so. Just let it cool. Ah, man, that looks amazing. I can't wait to dig in. I need a plate and a serving spoon. There's the plate over there. So this it's still hot, yeah? So I'm gonna be careful. Slide it onto one side so that you can get a nice scoop. Just lay it gently on your plate. See that browning? Ah, man, it looks amazing. Okay. Here you go, man. Enjoy. Your guests are really gonna love this. Let's go on to the next meal. Now, jollof rice is very popular in West Africa, but it's become known all over the world because it's a rich, flavorful, very warm, very homely recipe. So let's get into it. Jollof rice. We're gonna start off with blending a few items. Let me get my blender. Let me just put it on the side. So the first thing we have is our green bell pepper. So let me show you how I prepare my green bell pepper. It's real easy. Always make sure your knives are sharp. So the first step is to always clean your vegetables and everything else you're cooking. So this is clean, I had cleaned it. And then the next step is you want to create a flat surface so that it's easier to work with, okay? So at the bottom, I'm just going to chop off the bottom, not too much because we don't want to be wasteful. And as you can see now, I have a flat surface, so my bell pepper stands up real straight. So the next thing we're going to do is it's kind of like skinning it, but we're going a bit deeper, but we are avoiding the white part and the seeds, okay? So very gently, just go around. You see that? That's what we are avoiding, this white part and the seeds. So there you go, see? All that is what you're avoiding. You always want to avoid this white part because it's a bit bitter. And of course, you don't need the seeds. So this one goes into the trash. Next step is just make, like big chunks. Big chunks. Here we go. So we're going to add that to our blender. Second thing, half an onion. Okay, we're gonna save the other half for later. So right now we're just gonna use half an onion. Let me pick this one and just cut big chunks of it. So there we go, nice and easy, real quick. We're gonna add our onion into the blender. And then we are going to add our tomatoes. 2 medium-sized tomatoes are enough. So for the tomatoes, we're going to do the same thing. Cut it in half to create a flat surface. Okay? Then we're going to remove the top. And then just cut it into big chunks. And make sure you're always using a sharp knife. We're going to add one more thing before we blend it. And that's our Scotch bonnet. So this thing can be very hot, okay? Even I don't use the whole Scotch bonnet. And remember, recipes are made as a guide. They're not a law. So, you can adjust the recipe depending on what you like and what you can take. I can't take too much heat. So what I'll do is, I'll just use a quarter. So I'll half it, and then I'll cut the half into 2. I don't need that. So I'll just remove the seeds as well. So I'll try and cut it into the smallest, tiniest pieces I can. Again, remember to always move at your own pace. When you're cooking alone at home, you're not really trying to impress anyone. I must confess, before my knife skills got better I cut myself quite a bit. All our ingredients are in our jug. And then now we're gonna blend it. Cover it. And blend. Right, so that's the consistency we want. It's like a sauce. So get yourself a pan, a nice non-stick pan. Turn on the heat. Place it on the heat. So what we're going to do is we are going to pour our mixture, all of it, straight into the pan. And then we're going to let this cook until the water reduces, okay? And just so that we can rinse the remainder off. You can add a bit of water. And just, rinse it, pour it in. Put your jug aside. So you're going to see your sauce start to boil. Get yourself a spatula. And just keep stirring, okay? Once in a while, stir. You can already see the consistency kind of start to change. And that's what we want, okay? So just remember to keep stirring. It'll take a few minutes, but it'll be well worth it. As this cooks and as we continue to check on it, let's prepare our other ingredients. So we need half onion. What we want to do is dice it as we wait for the water to evaporate on our sauce. So this one we're going to dice it a bit differently. We don't want big chunks. We want small manageable pieces. I'm going to go across and just cut across so that I have nice even cuts, and then hold it down and just chop. So these are the kind of pieces that we are going to end up with. Nice small manageable pieces. There you go. Our onion is ready. Let's check on the sauce. A lot of the water has evaporated. Let me just show you what you're left with. See that consistency? That's what we are looking for. So we're going to put this aside because it's ready. Get a clean pot, place it on heat. We're going to add some Malaysian palm oil into our pot. And that's enough. So make sure that the bottom is well coated as well. Then we're going to add our onion. So we're going to add our onion, mix it up, and then we let this cook until it softens. Our onions are nice and soft, so we're going to add our tomato paste. So add in your tomato paste, mix well. Just a bit longer. All right, that should be enough. Then now we're going to add our reduction, okay? So we're going to bring in our reduction. Let's put all of it in there. Leave no flavor behind, okay? So mix that. Let's give that about 2 minutes to cook. Cover. Let it cook for about 2 minutes. And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. Our sauce is exactly where we want it to be. It's cooked. Like there's already so much flavor in there, but let's add a bit more. So we're going to add some curry. Just a bit of it. Gonna add some curry. And then some salt. And then we're going to add a seasoning cube. So you can use whichever seasoning cube you like. I like a beef cube because it has a lot of flavor. And I'm only going to use half, okay? I'm not gonna use full. So even I adjust recipes as I go. It just depends on you know, the mood that I'm in and what I feel like. Two more things we're gonna add. We're gonna add 1 bay leaf, okay? And a few sprigs of thyme. So the way we're gonna add thyme is, instead of throwing the whole stem in there, just take a few sprigs and just remove the leaves as you add. You know, again, remember, you can keep adjusting this recipe and just make it your own, right? We'll give it a quick mix. Oh man, that smells so good. I was telling my friend earlier that I can't smell food unless I do that. Like, my senses are dead, man. So sad. Add a bit of water, 1 cup of water. Add 1 cup of water. Take your rice, make sure it's clean. Pour it in there. Mix it. And then we're going to add a bit more water to make sure that all the rice is completely covered, okay? So just gonna add gently, just add more water to make sure all the rice is completely covered. And then we're gonna cover this. We're gonna turn up the heat to bring it up to a boil. And then once it's boiling, we're going to reduce the heat and let it simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. At this point, we just let heat and time do its magic. Remember this food fact: the better your food looks, the tastier it's gonna be. It's just a mind game. So make sure you present your food the best way you can. And since our food is yellow, orangish, I'm using a contrasting plate. It's blue. Need a serving spoon. And just scoop. Scoop, scoop, scoop. Plate, plate, plate. One more thing we're gonna do, just to add color, get a leaf or two, just 1 leaf. Let's get 2, okay? Just 2 leaves of your parsley. Place them right at the middle, and there you go. Jollof rice, full of flavor, full of color. Your guests are going to love this. Let's get ready for recipe number 3. And it's a dope accompaniment for this jollof rice. It's some chicken. Let's get into it. All right, so we are down to our final recipe, recipe number 3. We're gonna be making a roast chicken with red pepper sauce. It's amazing. Again, it's full of flavor, and it's a really good accompaniment for the jollof rice we made earlier. So what you need: chicken. So here's how I prepare my chicken. So for today, you can use just about any piece of chicken you want. I personally love the thigh and drumstick because it's packed full of flavor. Okay, so if you can get the thigh and drumstick, I have 2 pieces. So this is how I prepare my chicken. Now remember, every utensil you use with your chicken, you have to clean it before you use it on any other ingredient. So the first thing I like to do is I like to remove any excess skin and fat, okay? So just cleaning it up. So I'm just gonna snip it. And I hate it because it really brings a fatty flavor that is, it can be a bit overpowering at times, and I don't want it. And once I get to a place where it's attached to the excess skin, I remove it. So all this is just excess skin and fat, too much fat, okay? So we throw that away. So my oven has been warming up. We're going to cook this chicken at 180 degrees for about 45 minutes or until the skin is golden brown. We're going to season it with salt and pepper. Just make sure you clean your hands before touching anything else and wipe them down. So salt and pepper. So first pepper, just be generous, okay? And then some salt. And then we're going to drizzle some Malaysian palm oil just over it, not too much, just a bit of palm oil. We're going to gently place it on this tray, just like that. Our oven is super hot right now, so just carefully place it inside. And let time do its magic. As our chicken cooks, let's get started on the red pepper sauce, okay? So first thing we need is a tray. Baking tray. We need tomatoes. So I've reduced my tomatoes. You need about 6 tomatoes for this recipe, but mine are a bit big, so I don't need all of them. We're gonna make very rough cuts, okay? So remove the top, throw that away. Cut it in half, and then cut the halves in halves. That's all, okay? So we're gonna quarter them. Quarter. The next thing we're gonna chop is our bell pepper. We're using a red bell pepper. So remember, always flatten the bottom, okay? And then gently carve, just go round and round. Avoid the seeds, avoid the white parts. So that's like the carcass, we don't want that, throw that away. Again, with these ones, we don't want fine cuts. Just some rough cuts, about yay size, okay? Throw them in there. We're going to use an onion. My onion was pretty big, so I'm only using half of it instead of a full onion. And again, what we'll do is some rough cuts. So I'll have it, turn it around, and then quarter it. That's it. We're also going to add 1 pepper, okay? So I'm using a dried pepper. Again, rough cuts. Throw it in there. And finally, the hot stuff. So be careful with this. I'm only going to use a quarter again. I'm only going to use a quarter, and I'm going to remove all the seeds, just so that I can reduce on the heat. I don't want too much heat. Again, feel free to follow the recipe exactly as is, but you're free to make adjustments as well. So that goes in there. I'll throw away the rest. We also have garlic cloves. We're going to use 4 of them. And then I'm just going to cut them in half. Throw it in. So here's our mix of vegetables. We're going to season them. First with salt. Enough salt, and then with some Malaysian palm oil. Malaysian palm oil is very healthy for you, okay? It's good for you, it's healthy, it's rich in vitamin E. And I'm not worried when I'm throwing palm oil into, some aggressive heat like the oven or if you're deep frying, because it has a very high smoking point, so it can take a lot of heat, and it takes heat very well. It also lasts longer. People always ask, so how many times can you reuse oil, especially if you're deep frying? Malaysian palm oil lasts much longer, so it's good for you. Just toast that a bit. So that's our vegetable mix. We're going to throw this into the oven for about 20 minutes, just so that the vegetables can soften, and then we're going to blend them. We're going to blend it so that we can make our sauce, okay? Here we go. Our vegetables are nice and ready. They're soft. We're gonna remove this from the oven. And as you can see, some liquid. Our vegetables had already started releasing some liquids. So it's a good time to blend them. Very carefully, just pour the mixture into your blender. So that's enough. Our sauce is nearly there. I'm gonna put the blender aside. We are going to bring a pan, put it on your stove, turn up the heat, and just pour the sauce inside the pan. We're going to cook this for about 10 minutes, just so that we can get rid of a bit more of the water in there. Just turn your heat to low. We're going to add just a few more ingredients to our sauce just to bring that flavor home. And the first thing we're gonna add is some finely grated ginger. I have my ginger. I'm just gonna grate just a bit, not too much. We don't want the ginger to be overpowering. So that's that. So we're gonna scrape this, add it to our sauce, and then we're going to add some curry powder, just a bit, add it to our sauce. Our meat is ready, our sauce is ready. Let me get it out of the oven real quick. Okay. So there goes. We have our meat. Our sauce is ready. Turn off the heat. Give it a quick stir. And it's time for us to plate. So normally how you would plate this meal is, even just on the same plate, I just pour my sauce over it. But since we're trying to make it a bit fancy, first thing we're gonna do is pour a bit of the sauce at the bottom, okay? So this is how you make it fancy. Pour some of the sauce at the bottom, start from the middle, and let it spread out. Oh, it smells so nice. Take one piece of your meat, hold it up by the drumstick, and just slice. Here's how you know you've gotten a really good chicken roast. Hear that? Crispy skin. So we're going to lay the thigh on top, and then the drumstick on top of the thigh. So one more thing we're going to do before we serve, just to add flavor and color, okay? We're going to take a couple of fresh basils. This is basil. We're going to get a couple of fresh leaves. So the bigger leaf goes down, followed by the other leaves. Roll it up. So we're gonna throw that away. Then we're gonna make some thin slices. Don't need too many. Spread it out and just drizzle around your sauce. It's a nice plate of roast chicken with red pepper sauce. It looks amazing, smells amazing. Your guests are gonna love this.